Welcome to the BrainTap podcast, here to help you relax, reboot, and strengthen your overworked brain. Your host, Dr. Patrick Porter, is the developer of the BrainTap Pro mobile app, designed to help you sleep better, lose weight, de-stress, or kick a bad habit, all while increasing energy, focus, peak performance, and more. Take the free BrainTap Pro challenge. Simply register at braintap.pro. That's braintap.pro. On the BrainTap podcast, Dr. Porter brings together a team of experts to share up-to-the-minute news in neuroscience, brain training technology, along with how mindfulness and meditation can be used to improve your life in ways you never imagined possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Patrick Porter.
Hello and welcome back to BrainTap Radio. This is Dr. Patrick Porter, and today we have a very special guest. In fact, I've known Dr. Michelle Robbins for quite some time now. She's doing some great work out there. She's a celebrated author. She's a speaker. She's out there helping the world. She's got both feet on the ground doing her thing, and she's also looking ahead to help us all understand different things. So Dr. Robbins, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this point in your life where you are an expert in your field. So tell us a little bit about what it is that makes you such an expert, and then we're going to discuss it with our group here today.
Well, thanks, Dr. Porter. I think I'm an expert trying to figure it out for my own well-being. Most of all is how do I get through life with as few bumps and bruises, and that's probably my goal in life. And so I'm a chiropractor. I got hurt playing basketball at the age of 15, and my mother took me to the hospital and nothing was broken. And so she took me to the chiropractor, and it just changed my life forever. And I really don't remember anything about the chiropractic experience, but what I do remember is how they made me feel. And I think about the Maya Angelou quote about people don't remember kind of what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. And I remember how the chiropractic made me feel, and they actually became a family, and they're still in my life today. Dr. Lakin has since deceased, but his wife Carol and her kids are still in my life. Here I am 36 years later. And so for me, I wanted to do what they were doing and really making people feel important and help them get well. I started working for them as a high school student. Then I decided I wanted to become a chiropractor in junior college. My chemistry teacher, Dr. John Usera, said, Michelle, you know what? You're really not going to be a chiropractor. You're really lousy at chemistry. And so I had my undergrad in business with an emphasis in accounting. That was a little bit more my left brain. And I got to a senior in college, and I said, you know what, I really am destined to be a chiropractor. And so here I am, hard to believe, so many years later. I've been in private practice 25 years, celebrating my 25 years right now, and I absolutely love it.
That's great. Well, I know you're part of a great movement called the Wellness Connection. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you founded that and what's your vision for the Wellness Connection going forward?
You know, when I opened my office, I got a chance to train with a guy named Dr. Richard Yenny. He's a kind of an icon in the chiropractic space, and he helped bring acupuncture to America. He was President Truman's interpreter. And so when I was in chiropractic school, I got introduced to him. So I spent a lot of time with him, and he talked about this whole person healing. I call it the Quadrants of Wellbeing: mechanical, chemical, energetical, psycho-spiritual healing. And so when I opened my first practice, it was Robin Chiropractic and Acupuncture Center. And we did chiropractic and acupuncture. And over the next few years, I started adding other modalities like massage therapy, yoga therapy, and we added a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, actually. And mostly because I was just truly trying to figure out how I can stay well. And if I'm able to access this type of care, I wanted the people I love and care about to be able to access it. So I started something called Your Wellness Connection, and it's really helping people, I say your wellness, getting you reconnected to this divine wisdom inside of you. And that's one reason why I love the BrainTap, Patrick, is because it helps people get reconnected to the true essence of who they already are. And so we started Your Wellness Connection. And for many years, I employed a lot of practitioners. And now, over the last few years, I've kind of been unwound that, and everybody's independent. So we have 31 practitioners housed at Your Wellness Connection. We have an 8,000 square foot facility that has a classroom, and we have massage therapy and acupuncture and counselors and nutritionists and chiropractors and functional medicine and naturopathic doctors and a sleep doctor. And so it's really great for our community. And I feel blessed that God gave me this assignment.
That's great. Well, I know that people term you an evangelizer for the quadrants of well-being. So tell us about each one of those just a little bit more. So, because the listener out there might not understand that they think, oh, if I broke my leg, I need to go get my leg set, but they don't know about just staying healthy. So
Well, I think it's kind of like, I can give you so many different analogies. I'm going to use the business analogy, and you can kind of think about this in a car. In order for a business to run efficiently, and most of your listeners work for somebody most likely, and they're either in operations, or marketing, or finance, or leadership. And so the body requires the same type of aspect. The mechanical is like operations. We got to make sure it's functioning, whether it's the sleep posture we have, maybe it's our ergonomics posture, maybe it's our nervous system, whether we're getting the right chiropractic care or osteopathic care, exercise. That's the mechanical quadrant. It's kind of this keeping the engine, the whole frame working. And then you have the marketing, and that's the chemistry. You cannot run a good business without good customers, and you cannot run a body without the right chemistry. So if you break a leg, yes, it's important to go to the doctor and get the leg set, or put in a cast, whatever you need to do, but it's also, how do you treat the chemistry side? What type of fuel are you giving your body so it has the ability to heal? And one of my teachers, Dr. James Chestnut, says the body's sick because of two reasons only: it's toxic or it's deficient. And so when I think about chemistry, it's easy for us to say, I'm toxic, especially coming through the holiday season. We think about how people are eating the wrong foods and they're having more pain and discomfort. It could also be the medications you're taking, the air you're breathing, the stuff you're putting on your skin. And so that would be the chemistry quadrant. And then you go to the finances. That's like energy. And we all have this vibration around us. And there's a lot of study going on right now with energy medicine. And I don't know about you, I can walk in, when we got a chance to see each other in person a few months ago, and you feel the vibration. And there's some people where you say, oh, you know what, something doesn't feel right, get me out of here. And that's energy medicine. You maybe whether just using essential oils, or acupuncture type therapies, or some type of meditation, maybe taking a hot shower, that changes your energy and vibration. And then we look at the psycho-spiritual aspect, which you're definitely an expert at in this. It's looking at the way we talk to ourselves, the committee inside our head that tells us things. And I personally believe that in order for people to do the things they know they could be doing for their well-being, they've got to really fall in love with the essence of who they are, not in an egotistical or narcissistic way, but realizing that we're designed to be well, and we're designed to be happy. But we've got to remove the roadblocks from our heart that keep us from doing the things we know we need to do. And so that's the psycho-spiritual. Those are the quadrants of well-being, and people can learn about it a lot more at our website, quadrantsofwellbeing.com.
well, also there's a book, right? You've written a book about the same topic, or is that?
It's definitely included in it. I have 7 books, and my latest book's called Small Changes, Big Shifts, Put the Odds in Your Favor. And, I can't guarantee anybody, if they do BrainTap, or they talk well themselves, or they eat the right food and exercise, that they're not going to get hit by a car, which just happened to me. But I think I had put the odds in my favor in recovering because I was taking care of my mechanical aspect, my chemical, energetical, psycho-spiritual. And so my latest book's called Small Changes, Big Shifts, Put the Odds in Your Favor.
That's great. And also, if people are enjoying what they're hearing here today, you have a radio show of your own. So tell us how we can tune into your radio show. We'll put a link here in the podcast as well, so they can kind of cross-reference it and maybe listen to some of your other topics. So why don't you share that with us today?
My podcast is called Small Changes, Big Shifts. And because what happens is, so many times people think that they've got to do all or nothing. And what I've learned through the years is that most people fail at that. And here we are once again at the beginning of 2018, and people are thinking about all their New Year's resolutions. And I contend that people will, if you change one thing a month, you'll change 12 things the next year, instead of trying to change 12 things the first part of the year, and then you get frustrated and you quit. And so I started a podcast about 4 years ago, started on the Blog Talk radio first, and then went to a podcast. And I really love it because I get to talk to great people like you, that maybe you never know what golden nugget's going to really help you stay in the game. Because this wellness, it's a journey. And how do you just keep doing the right things most of the time? It's not I'm not 100%. I always say Friday stands for French Fry Fridays, the F and the F. And people are like, Michelle, I can't believe you eat French fries. And you know what? I do eat French fries. It's one of my favorite foods, but I'm not going to do it every day. And so I love connecting people to people like you, that people will hear something and go, you know what? I can do that.
That's great. So they can tune into that, but tell us a little bit about your clinical experience and what you do beyond just chiropractic care, so that if someone is in your area, and tell us a little bit about where that is so that people can,
Mm-hmm.
if they're in the area listening, they can come by and see you.
Yeah, I'm in the metro Kansas City area. I'm on the Shawnee side, just right off of I-35, but just kind of metro Kansas City, which is a great, great city. My passion is, I always tell my patients, I'm a quarterback. I love to sit with you and hear your story. And then I think about, okay, Michelle, here's what they say. Here's what their body's telling me. I bring an acupuncturist in a lot of times, and they'll do a tongue and pulse diagnosis. Have you ever had a tongue and pulse diagnosis?
No, but we do digital pulse analysis, but
Oh,
not, not the tongue.
yeah.
It's based on the same technology, I know, but
Oh, I'd like to see that. Well, this is a professional Chinese medicine doctor that's trained in this evaluation. They feel your pulse and they look at some different qualities in the 12 different channels, and they look at your tongue and they'll tell you kind of what's going on. And so I maybe bring in a craniosacral therapist, and we will evaluate somebody, and then we'll come up with a plan based on the quadrants of well-being and what your goals are. What I've learned is I have goals for you that typically are going to be greater than you have for yourself, but just because I'm in the space all the time. And so I'm a quarterback. I help people find connections to people that can help them move along life as efficiently as possible.
that's great. Well, what's the common mistake you see patients making that you're seeing?
They ignore the little things. For instance, drinking water. I travel all over the country to speak to leadership groups, and I do a workshop based on my second book called The E Factor: Engage, Energize, Enrich 3 Steps to Vibrant Health. And what I believe is people don't drink enough water. I think there's really many, many things, but I'm going to say 2 things that I think are overlooked a lot. One is water and hydrating your body, and the second one is sleep. And that's another reason why I love using the BrainTap, and I use your technology for this to get a good night's sleep. And I'll put that on, especially if I have monkey mind, or if I'm going through a challenging time and I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll put it on to go back to sleep. And so I believe that people devalue the value of water and sleep.
Talking about these books, are these books available also on your website, or where should they go to learn more about your books and how they can read it in their own home?
Yeah, they can get them on Amazon. Amazon.com has all of them. They can also go to my professional website, drmichellerobin.com, and they can hook into my podcast there. It'll take them to the Quadrant site. We really designed the Quadrant site to shine the light on our 25th year and shine the light on the whole profession around us, because it's never about one person. And I would say one of my biggest takeaways over the last few years is I've been searching for the answer for everybody. Is there's not the answer for everybody. What Patrick needs or what Michelle needs are different based on our own experience in life, our own childhood upbringing, our own genetics. And so that's why we developed the Quadrants Wellbeing site. We've been dripping videos out from different practitioners from around the country, and a lot of local ones in Kansas City to shine the light on them and to say thank you for the amazing 25 years I had. From where I've come from, there's no reason I should have had the 25 years I've had, and I'm just extremely grateful.
That's great. Well, what product or technique or service do you wish more of your patients knew about?
Oh, I wish they truly knew more about the power of looking at your body holistically. And that's what we've created with this Quadrants of Wellbeing site. There's tons of takeaway there. You can go there and they can tune in to something. And if they just start implementing those little small changes, and over the next year, they will see a big shift in their life.
I know you've seen thousands of people in 25 years, but can you share with the listeners a little bit about maybe the story of someone? We don't need their name,
Mhm.
but someone that you've helped from the beginning to the end, and where they're at, maybe where they're at now, or what's happened to them
Mm.
because of the type of therapy that they've received.
Well, I think I'll share Rachel's story, and this is public. She's been interviewed for my book for it. Plus, she also was on the Quadrants of Wellbeing site. Rachel came to me, gosh, probably 5 years ago now. maybe 6, and she was not quite 30 years old, 27, I believe, at the time, and she was on 30 pills a day for Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, one of those two. Getting my stories in my head.
Mhm.
But she came to me for back pain. A friend referred her to come because she has back pain. And so many times the mechanical structure will start to break to get your attention. So she came to me for back pain. I examined her. I took some x-rays of her, and I said, okay, great. Let me think about what we should do. Come back and see me tomorrow. And I said, by the way, your low back's really angry. And she thought, oh my gosh, what a quack you are. So she left, and she said she says this. She said she called other chiropractors to see if somebody would adjust her, and no one was available to adjust her. So she came back the next day, and we started this journey of her really looking at her and unraveling her whole health. She wanted to be a nurse, but she went to school and partied, failed out of school, and got sick, and then ended working much to her disagreement. She didn't really want to, but worked for her stepfather in billing because she's a really smart person in insurance billing. And so she was angry at her parents. She was angry at herself. She was eating the wrong foods. She had pain. And so we started the process I told you about. We actually started working on her back. I still also adjust patients. So we started working on her back, and I started talking to her about her diet. And then we started talking to her about, and I partnered with a medical doctor who has a similar philosophy. And so she helped her with the medications because that's out of my scope. And then I told her about something called the Hoffman process. Have you heard of the Hoffman process?
No, I haven't. Why don't you
It's
share
called
that?
Hoffman Institute. And it's a 7-day process where you go and you kind of get right with yourself, because we get programmed. Um, Unknowingly by our parents and knowingly by our parents, because they got programmed by their parents and their parents. And you go back
Mhm.
to the creator of the universe and you say, okay, now here's where we're at, but what are we going to do about it? And so she went and did the Hoffman process, which I did 20 years ago. And it really helped pull out all the stuff in my heart of unworthy, not good enough, who do you think you are? And so she did that. So she treated it from a whole perspective. She also did acupuncture. And fast forward, here we are. She actually went back to school, became a nurse. She has the dream job of her life, working for Children's Mercy, a big children's hospital in Kansas City. She is off all medication. She's lost about 80 pounds. And and I see her now more socially than I see her. She's become one of my kids. I don't have any biological children, but I have many non-biological children. And I see her maybe about 4 to 6 times a year in my clinic, and then maybe 4 to 6 times a year, maybe socially at something. And that's a great story. But you know what? She was ready, even though she was angry. I just feel lucky enough that she let me guide her. And I think as physicians, our job is to guide people. It's their job to decide whether they want to take the path. And so you got to trust who you're working with. And I like to tell my patients, if I quit encouraging you, you need to fire me because I quit caring. And I also think it's important for you to really want to be around your doctor. I tell my patients, you know, I want to have the type of patients that I want to be at your celebration of life. I may not make it, but I want to feel that I care about you that much that I take time to show up.
That's great. Now, knowing you've been in this field for 25 years, but if I had a time machine, I could put you in it, send you back with all the knowledge you have today to 25 years ago. What is one of the key things that you wish you knew then that you know now?
Mm. Gosh, that is such a wonderful question. I've never been asked that, and I've also done so many interviews. So thank you for that question. I think what I would know, is just to trust the process and to relax a little bit. And for my patients, I would let them know that no one has the answers. You have the most answers for yourself, and no one out there is going to have them for you. You've got to really tune in and listen. I think that's what I would really teach people, is to tune in and listen to your own inner wisdom.
Great. With all of your mentors and seminars you've been to and trainings, and I saw you at 10X event in Nashville, so I know you're continuing to learn and grow. What would you say is some of the best advice that you could share with the listeners that you've learned from another mentor or another speaker or something like that?
Dance your best dance. Be the best Michelle Robin I can be, and don't try to be somebody else. I have my own unique gifts. And, I'm a fairly soft-spoken person. I'm not a huge personality. And to do the things I'm doing, whether it's on stage or writing books, I'm actually an introvert. And so I am fueled by my calling and my passion for this work. And I would say just to be me and not try to be somebody else.
Right. Now, with the Wellness Connection, because I'm pretty sure, right, anybody from around the country can log in there, start learning about themselves, learning about people. Is that the best site for the listeners to go to, just to start learning about what you do and start to improve their quality of life? Or would you give them some other link or some other advice?
One of the many websites. No,
Yeah.
I would give them drmichellerobin.com. If you're in Kansas City, your wellness station is more of a destination where people can come to. And we do have some clients that we can consult with and coach from around the country. But if you're in the metro area, then I would go to your Wellness Connection. If you want to get a lot of free tools, I'm really on a mission to reach 1 million people that small changes can lead to big shifts. And the Dr. Michelle Robin site has the free podcast. It has a lot of free tools that they could download there as well.
So if you're out there listening, listen, share, get your family involved, because the worst thing that can happen is you can outgrow your community, and then you're kind of stranded on an island. So get your community to grow with you. Share these tools. Don't keep them under wraps. I think this is something we all need to share. One person share with another person, and just keep growing this. And I think that's a very admirable goal to reach 1 million people. So tell me a little bit about, with everything I mean, we could go on for weeks here, probably talking about different stories and things, but from what you've told and shared with us so far, what have we forgotten to learn from Dr. Robbins today that you want to share with the group?
I think a couple things. I'm going to go back to our kids. As I'm starting to really wrap up this 25th year celebration, I'm thinking about my next 25 years and the impact that I would like to try to help with the guidance and the knowledge that I've had the privilege to learn and haven't learned yet is our kids. I'm really, really concerned, Patrick, about our kids. I'm concerned about the anxiety levels, the suicides, the digestive issues kids are having. And I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to the kids. And I would love for parents to take a deep breath. And I know they take their kid, they give up their own health for their kids, and their kids watch that. And I think one of the greatest things you can do for your kids, is show them what it's like to live holistically, so that as you age and you get to that 60, 70, that next phase of life, your kids are not spending all their energy taking care of you. Not that that's a bad thing, but I think that we self-sacrifice. So be a good role model, and then also invest in your kids, because you're not just investing in your kids, you're investing in your grandkids. And we know from Dr. Terry Walls that it's going to take us 2 to 3 generations to change what's been happening, because our pond has gotten so polluted. And when I say that, our kids, whether it's through the foods they're eating or through all the electrical, all the devices we're around, whether it's through just the stress they're having or the mechanical stress, that we're seeing our kids getting sicker and sicker. And I think just recently announced that we are actually expected to live a shorter lifespan now. And I think that we're just starting to see the downward trend of that. And so for me, I would say, whatever is good for you is good for your kids, and being a phenomenal example around your overall well-being so that they can get that mastered.
That's great advice. Well, I appreciate you sharing with us on the show here, and I'm going to encourage everyone to go to drmichellerobins.com, learn everything you can. She's got something here that I think can touch the lives of every person listening. And of course, everyone who's listening has friends and family members. We need to help her get to that 1 million person mark and more. I mean, I think it could be like popcorn, right? You never know when that first kernel is going to pop, but then the whole kettle starts popping away. So we need to, and we need a lot of people out there helping a lot of other people, so we can maybe accelerate that process. Instead of it taking 2 generations, maybe we can do it in a generation and a half. So again, thanks for being on the radio show today. And I'm going to post your links in the site, in the podcast, so that if someone didn't write them down, they'll just be able to go to the actual podcast itself and learn about you. keep learning and growing. And I appreciate you being part of the BrainTap network and sharing that with your patients and being such a great example. And I look forward to seeing you personally at one of the next events that we'll run into each other at. So.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much. Keep shining. Keep doing great work. And for your listeners, just think about what's great and what's working in their life today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.